Hello everyone, and welcome you all to another chapter of the DaVinci Resolve Essential Tutorial. So now we are on our chapter number 5, and here I will be showing you guys about the editing tools there in the DaVinci Resolve. Okay, so I'll be explaining you guys about the tools available over here in detail. So let's not waste time and let's get started on the editing tools in DaVinci Resolve. So here, as you guys can see, now I'm here in the workspace of the DaVinci Resolve. Okay, so now I'm under a project. So now what I am going to do over here is I am going to import some videos. Okay, so as you guys can see, once I double click on this one, okay, so I can just play this thing around. Okay, so I can just bring this playhead over here and I can just play it and see this particular video, okay, which I do have here in my screen. Okay, I can import that. Otherwise, I can come here and I can just bring this playhead over here. And now we can basically see this whole clip through. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this particular video from my source panel. Okay, so as you guys can see, I have taken it here. Okay, and first I will unlink this clip. Okay, come here and I will just cut only the audio. And now I only do have the video. And what I'll do is I will just zoom this thing out a little bit. So here, as you guys can see, now I do have this particular footage here in my timeline. Okay, so if you guys want to see the whole footage out on my preview screen, you guys can see that I do have this footage over there. Okay, so now let's try to understand what all tools we do have available over here. Okay, so the first tool which is there in our edit space, okay, it is the selection tool. Okay, so what we can do with selection tool, okay, so all the basic things, and this is one of the most important tool and the widely used tool once you're working with video editing. Okay, so if I just select this selection tool, I can just select this one. Then if I just click outside, it will be unselected. Okay, and if I do have more than one footage, suppose if I do this footage here as well. Okay, so I can just select both of this footage at the same time. If I want to link these things up, I can link those things up here as well. Okay, so I'll just select this one and now I will delete this. Okay, so this is about the selection tool. You can just move your frames around if you want to increase or decrease the size. Okay, you guys can do using this particular tool over here. Okay, so this is one of the main tool. Okay, you guys can also move around your playhead. You guys can actually place any object if you wanna. You guys can do that here as well. Okay, so using this also, what you guys can do is you guys can do some basic trimming. Okay, so now if I just increase the size of the frame over here, and let me just show you guys my video track. Okay, so as you guys can see, now I do have this video. Okay, so once I come here, you guys can see that once I have this red sign over here, that means that now I won't be able to go further out to my right because I don't have any clip left over here. Okay, so the same goes with this over here. Okay, as you guys can see, I do have a red sign over here. Okay, and also as you guys can see, my mouse is there and there is one white icon on top of this both corner. That means that now I do have the full footage here in my timeline. Okay, so if I will just trim this out, okay, I can basically trim this from here. As you guys can see, I can just trim this thing out a little bit. Okay, so I can just place this accordingly over here. Okay, so this is about the selection tool. Okay, we can do some basic trimming from here. As you guys can see now on my preview screen, now this is the footage left over here. Okay, so let me tell you guys about few of the shortcut keys which you can also use to play, pause, okay, and also to go frame by frame back or forward. Okay, so now if I just click on J, okay, K, here as you guys can see, once I have clicked on L, okay, I can go forward. Okay, so as you guys can see, if I just click on L, okay, I can go forward. Okay, and if I just click on K or J over here, it will play reverse. Okay, so here as you guys can see, this one is basically the stop button, this one is the play button, this one is if I just want to go to the next edit. Okay, and here if I want to play this thing in reverse, I can play this thing in reverse here as well. Okay, so instead of doing this, these are few of the keyboard shortcuts, which are J, K, and L. So L is used to play forward. If I want to play backward, I can just click on J. J is for if I want to play it in a reverse, and K is basically to stop. Okay, so that is about this thing over here, and using my shift also, I can just play and pause. As you guys can see, once you use that in your keyboard, that is quite useful. Okay, so now as you guys can see, this duration of the footage which I do have here, let's check the duration of the footage. Okay, so this one is something around 3 seconds and 13 frames. Okay, but here in this preview panel, you guys can see the total duration of this video. But as I have trimmed this thing down, okay, so it is kind of like 3 seconds, something like this. But here it is 5.49 seconds video. Okay, so now let me take another footage, okay, which is comparatively big. Okay, so I will just put this one here in the timeline 1, I believe. Okay, in the video track 1, and now I will just click on to control minus. Okay, so as you guys can see, now this footage is quite long. Okay, so if I just click over here, you guys can see now the total duration of my footage in my preview panel is 32 seconds and 11 frames. Okay, and if I just move around this playhead, here you guys can see the duration here in my playhead is 9.03 seconds. Okay, so now as I have already told you guys about the shortcut keys, what I can use, which is J, K, and L. So L is for playing forward, as you guys can see. So if I double click on my L, here you can see the speed have increased by 2 times. And if I click this again, here you guys can see the speed have increased by 4 times. Okay, so it will just multiply. Okay, and the same goes with the J as well. If I click on J here, it's going backward. And now if I double click the J here, the speed has increased, and if I click again, the speed has increased by 4 times. Okay, so this is what you guys can basically do. So now suppose I do want to come or just go frame by frame, okay, to this particular point. What I want to do is I want to put up some cut over to a particular point. So for that, what you need to do is you just need to click on K. Okay, and you just need to click on L to go frame by frame. So if you just see here, I am able to go frame by frame. I just clicked on K from my keyboard, and now if I want to go forward frame by frame, then I can just click on L. Okay, so here you guys can see it is going forward frame by frame. So once I am satisfied, okay, I will come to this point exactly. Okay, then what I can do is I can come here and using my razor tool over here on top, I can just put up any cut. Okay, so the use of razor tool is quite simple. Suppose once we are working, okay, then now I do have this particular video over here. So let me take my playhead, and at this part, what I want to do is I just want to cut this part from here. Okay, this is the extra part which I don't need. So what I'll do is I'll just select this particular tool, and I need to make sure that my snapping is on. So once my snapping is on and once I move my playhead to give up any cut, so once when I move this thing around here, you guys can see I do have a small line over in my footage. Okay, in that case, what I can do is if I just come here around, it will just snap me directly to the playhead. So to that exact point, what I can do is I can just give up a cut, come here, or just click on A from your keyboard. Then you will be able to select the selection tool again, select this one, and you can just delete this particular part. So now you guys can see the total duration of my particular video over here is 28 seconds and 9 frames. Okay. So this was about this. Okay. So now if I will just trim this thing down a little bit and trim this from here as well. And now just keep this thing over here. Okay. As you guys can see. Now let's play this thing around. Okay, and here in my preview screen, you guys can see I do have my footage over here. Okay, so now what you will be able to do is if you want to increase the size of this footage, here you guys can see I can just increase or decrease the size of my footage from here. Okay, as I have joined both of this over here, and suppose what I want is the first video which I have, I want to just increase the size or the duration of the first video, but I want to trim this down from here. Okay, I don't want the total duration of my video to increase. In that case, what I can also do is I will come here, click here in the middle, and now what I can do is I can just click here from my mouse and I can just bring here. So here it's showing me on my right hand side screen. As you guys can see, on the left hand side it is showing me the last frame of my first video, and on the right hand side it's showing me the first frame of the second video. Okay, so you guys can actually check out how you want to use that. Okay, so from here maybe I am satisfied at this place. Okay, so this is how you can actually do some cutting and all. Okay, some trimming without increasing the time over here. Okay, so you guys can do that here as well. Okay, so now let's come to this tool over here, which is the trim edit mode. Okay, so let's come to the trim edit mode from here. Okay, this is also a quite interesting tool. So here, once I am here in my trim edit mode, suppose I do have trimmed this particular video over here, okay? And once I hover my mouse or over this particular footage, I am able to see a icon, okay? So suppose you do have a video, okay? So now first, let's see this video, okay? Let's see this here in my particular timeline. And now what you want to do is you want only this first part of this video instead of this. Okay, you here also you don't want to increase the size of the footage. In that case, what you need to do is select this trim option and now just increase or just drag it down from here. Okay, so here on my right hand side screen, you guys are able to see the last frame of my first video. And after that, you guys are also able to see the first and the last frame of the video here. Okay, so this is how I can drag out. Okay, so here once you see there is some red color on my timeline, that means I will not be able to trim this thing down more because at that place I don't have more footage before that. Okay, so I can just trim this time down kind of like this. Okay, so I can just move this thing around that you guys can see properly. Okay, so let me just show you guys properly. And now here, as you guys can see, I can just move this frame by frame and also can get a preview here in my first screen. Okay, so same goes with this one. Okay, so if I just wanna use this part, that is the first frame on my left hand top corner, and the right hand top corner I do have the last frame. Okay, and down I also do have the first frame of my second video. Okay, so I can just keep this thing kind of like this, and here you guys can see now this is the video I do have over here. Okay, so you guys can actually trim this thing down over here. So now let's come to this option over here, okay, which is this dynamic trim mode. Okay, so here you can do it in two parts, okay, slip and slide. Okay, if I just select the slide one over here, here also you guys will be able to slide this thing down, okay, kind of like this. You guys will be able to slide. Otherwise, what you can do is you can just play this thing around over here, okay. And if I just click on the slip option, okay, so here as you guys can see, I can just play this thing around. And now here I can just trim this thing down according to this as well. Okay, if you wanna trim this thing down, so the usage of this thing is quite similar. Okay, I will come here, and what I can do is I will just come select the selection tool, and I'll just select only this. And what I can do is I can just bring this thing over here, okay, and I will just select the slide. So now I can actually see how it basically works. Okay, so you guys can actually play this thing around and actually see from here. Okay, so this is the usage of this tool over here. Okay, I'll just off this one. I've already told you guys the use of the blend over here. Okay, and suppose I do have this particular frame. Okay, so I do have this particular footage. So I will just double click here in my source panel, and I just want to use this particular thing. So I'll just mark in and mark out. Okay, mark in this part, and I want to mark this thing out over here. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to insert this particular footage in between of both of this clip. Okay, so first thing what I need to do is I need to bring my playhead here in the center, and now I can just click here in this insert clip option. Okay, here you guys can see that particular footage is being inserted in between both of this. Okay, now if I just delete, okay, and I'll just bring this thing here again. Okay, so now this is another one. Okay, override the clip. So suppose I do have this clip over here, and now I will just bring this thing again. And now what I want to do is I just want to override clip. Okay, so that means that now I do have this clip over here as well. This one has just override onto this clip over here. Okay, so you can also override over here. Okay, and now there is the last option, which is the replace clip. Suppose I will come here, and now I want to replace this particular clip with this one. So what I can do is I can just click here, and as you guys can see, I am able to get this clip here in the end. Okay, so I need to just bring my playhead somewhere here. Suppose if I want to keep this thing somewhere over here, I will select this one. And now if I want only this clip, okay, so that the first clip which I had, okay, I don't have that clip because it have replaced that particular clip. Control Z to go back again. Okay, so let me make you understand about this override tool here as well. Okay, so once I am there in any particular clip, now I am not able to see the clip which I had because this has just been pasted over, like over on top of this clip over here. Okay, so again, go back using Control Z. I hope you guys have understood this part. And once you're using or working here, okay, make sure that you guys use snapping, because suppose I do have created a cut, okay, and suppose with my blade tool I have just keep a cut over here. Once I do have my snap tool off, now if I am trying to move this to this particular point over here, okay, I am not able to do it properly. Okay, there might be some mistake, but if I do have this thing on over here, it will just snap. My playhead will directly snap to that particular cut, okay, or effects if I do have any, which we'll learn later. Okay, so that is the use of the snapping tool over here. And this one is basically the link selection. Okay, the shortcut key is Control plus So here what I can do is, suppose with my selection tool, I have selected this particular part. Okay, I can just come here and on this thing, and I will be able to move this thing all around. Okay, so that is the use of the link selection. Okay, you guys can actually link the selected parts. Okay, and afterwards here comes the position lock. Okay, so here if you want to lock all the position what you all have over here, okay, you guys can do it from here as well, but you can just directly lock the total timeline from here. Okay, that all the tracks, audio tracks or video tracks, whatever you have in your timeline will directly be locked, as you won't be able to make any changes. Okay, so you can just unlock it from here, and here you guys can see all at once all the video tracks and audio tracks I had over here has been locked. Okay, so now here comes the flag over here if you want to add any. Okay, suppose if you come using this playhead, and now if you come here and if you wanna add any flag, okay, you guys can actually add to do some work. And here if you wanna add any marker, you guys will be able to add any marker. Suppose at this point I need to make some changes. So what I'll do is I will just click here on the marker, that whenever I come back, okay, I can just come back here and check this. Okay, so I can just add some notes once I double click over here. Okay, you guys can see at what time I do have this if I just want to add a note. Okay, suppose I just want to add put up logo. Okay, so I will just put up this note, and once I'll do is I will click on done over here. So here you guys can see, once I just hover my mouse over to this marker number 2, here you guys can see I also do have my logo, or like I do have to put a logo. That message is there. So I can just delete this using by selecting this one and just clicking on delete. Otherwise what I can do is I can just go there and remove it. Okay, so here are different options. Okay, so here if you wanna zoom to the full extent, as you guys can see, it will just fill up the whole timeline and show you your footage. And what you can do is, this is another option if you want a detail zoom. In that case you guys can use this one. And if you want to customize the zoom, okay, you guys can do that from here. Okay, so if you want to customize zoom, okay, you guys will be able to do it kind of from here, as you guys can see. So I can just come here back again, and now again I want to see over here. Okay, so if you own this one, you can just customize according to yourself. And this one is basically the volume. You guys can actually work with this volume over here. Okay, so I hope you guys have understood this detailed class on the tools available in the toolbar of the DaVinci Resolve. And now you have a better idea of how to use those tools and where to use all these tools when you work on your video editing. Okay, so hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye everyone.